Welcome back to Talk of the Town on KNSJ.
I'm Abby. I go to Hilltop, where I'm the president of our sustainability club, and I am the intern for Youth4Climate as of right now. And over the past year, I've been the Chula Vista community intern. And I'm just trying to bring about a better world by providing more access to climate action to formerly underserved communities.
My name's Emma, and I am the lead of San Diego 350's Youth Be Oil, and also the president of the Climate Club at La Jolla High. And I guess I'm trying to make a better world by making people care about the world as much as I do, because I think first step to a better world is one full of love.
Our entire youth movement, like our biggest goal is phasing out fossil fuels. Of course, in our goal, we want to make sure that the people who are involved in reaching those goals are the same people being affected by those issues. And yeah, we're trying to ensure that people's voices are represented and heard as we're trying to reach those goals. Oftentimes, students haven't all been raised or been given the privilege of having education on these topics that we're all so passionate about. And so a lot of gaining interest from students comes down to personalizing the issue and kind of showing this is how it's affecting your life specifically. And doing outreach in schools like we were talking about, we do presentations in schools, in our own clubs. We talk to our fellow students, and I think just showing them how they can make a difference and make their own lives better, and showing them how their own actions can be so important is super essential in getting their involvement. We really do focus on our specific community work in San Diego, but I think it's still impactful for us to be doing this work here, and we put a lot of focus on sharing it on social media and doing things like this or on news and things like that.
So so have you gone down to city council?
Yes, a lot of city councils.
Have you?
Yes.
And which ones?
Encinitas, Del Mar, San Diego, La Mesa, Vista.
And what do you tell them? Get with the program?
Right now, it's particularly about, the campaign that I was talking about earlier, SB 1137. It's a law that was passed for the 3,200-foot setback zones that then was put on referendum by this massive misinformation campaign that Big Oil ran.
Did it pass?
The law passed, but the referendum is on the ballot in November. And right now we're going to city councils to get their kind of endorsement or support.
Okay, so what does this law say?
Basically, it would mandate 3,200 feet between new oil. You can't get a permit for oil drilling if it's 3,200 feet from what's called a sensitive receptor. So that's where people live, where people play, where people work, go to school, hospitals.
So that's going to cut down the amount of new oil.
And then it also puts a massive amount of restrictions on oil within the 3,200 that's already there to basically make it a lot less effective. And in combination with some other bills that are coming, our goal is to phase out fossil fuel reliance and production and drilling in California, but also throughout the entire world, and kind of loosen the grips that the oil industry has on our media and on our politicians. I mean, for the most part, the only reason we haven't been able to make a massive transition is because of the influence of the fossil fuel industry.
I think people can definitely help us and get involved by joining and researching any of our teams or groups at Youth4Climate or at our greater organization, San Diego 350. We have socials where youth can gather, and we'll do fun activities with everybody that they're enjoying, but also, at a point later in the event, after everybody's eaten and done the more fun activities, we do more educational things or more action-based things. Getting involved in our organizing, at least locally in San Diego, joining our movement is definitely very impactful. And I think there's a space for anybody to get involved and find what about the climate action movement really sparks their interest and that they're really passionate about.
Yeah, that's what I find the most beautiful about environmentalism is how intersectional it is. I think at the end of the day, anybody who's passionate about any social justice issue can find a place within our movement, because in just environmental injustice and just the fact that we have for so long exploited our environment is so very connected to every other issue. Black, Indigenous people of color are historically and now disproportionately affected by climate change and by things like neighborhood drilling. A lot of the like exploitation of our earth comes from this kind of like white supremacist colonialist view of like
Now you're throwing some really putting some fancy language in there, but I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like the idea that the earth is there to be used by us is very much intertwined with the idea that there are certain people that deserve more rights, that it's all one big giant, I like to say a corkboard of oppression that you can draw with like red string, all of the things, how they're connected. And I think that's what's really beautiful, and everybody can come together in that. It's kind of this like delicate balance of environmental justice, making sure that everybody is able to live their lives safely, but then also, save our earth for future generations as well.
So last year, in the Sweetwater district, we did an entire campaign based around passing this electrification resolution through the Sweetwater district that essentially involved working with the school board members to create a resolution that would get our district to transition away from fossil fuel-based transportation, building,
excellent,
etc. And yeah, this was following another resolution that had passed in the San Diego district previously. And it was really inspiring to rally students and kind of, represent people who've largely been disproportionately impacted by the causes of climate change, because in Chula Vista, there's plenty of people who are low income, like people of color, etc. And these are the people who are going to face the worst impacts due to like the health effects and the health costs.
But that their economy is based upon fossil fuels. How do we deal with that?
Yes, a lot of economic power has come out of oil. And just as, you brought up the North and South, the Southern economy was completely reliant on slavery, an unjust institution that nobody retroactively is saying, oh, it's so good that we held on to it for so long because the Southern economy was, but like, this is an injustice. And I think putting the view on this as we need to find a way to move away from it, just as like retroactively, we had to move away from slavery because it was like a human rights violation.
That is a brilliant response.
Our solution right now is we cut our fossil fuel production. Like we have to stop using fossil fuels. I think it's like a myth that's still perpetuated by these industries that fossil fuels is necessary for our economy. It's a waning industry because there's much more effective, efficient technology than fossil fuels. And I think it's all a matter of actually investing in it and not, continuing to keep our grasp on this like dying industry that, it's unjust, but it's also inefficient. Like it's not a good choice. And that's not going to end climate change. Like we are still
we're going to have to deal with whatever it is.
What we did so far, right? And then slowly the earth, just like it did in every other mass extinction, we are in the 6th mass extinction right now, it's going to bounce back. And the decision that we have to make is it going to bounce back with or without us? We are, I think, in history, the first civilization that decided not to save itself for profit, right? For the monetary gain. And it's really us that's on the line. Like the millions of species, absolutely. I think every single species does not deserve to be being put through what they're being put through because of us. But at the end of the day, the earth will continue. We just won't be on it.
Okay, so any final thoughts?
I think at the end of the day, my main message is that the only way for us to get out of this is for everybody to collectively decide that they want us to get out of it, for us to care. And I think our movement is very much one built on love, but it's also one built on bravery. And I know it's scary. I'm a very anxious teen as well. Like it is scary to put yourself out there. But it's kind of the only way that we can move forward and give opportunities to people to like pursue their own dreams. I want to ensure that future generations, they can choose. And so just do your part. Like don't be scared. We are all very welcoming with open arms.
I think I wanted to do something completely different when I started high school. But like not only has getting involved in climate action like helped me feel like I make a difference, but also like understand myself better and kind of like understand my culture in general and reconnect with my community.
For me, it's helped me find who I am. And I think that without climate work, I would be floating and having no idea what I want to be. I wanted to be a doctor when I started high school. I do not want to be a doctor anymore. And I think finding a passion is the greatest thing you could ever do.
If you go on sandiego350.org, you can fill out our volunteer interest form. We would love to get more youth from all areas of San Diego County involved in our work. We can teach you how to do all of these things, from public speaking to social media to event planning. And we hope to see you come out to some of our events soon. Well, there will be a lot of work coming up to the November election.
Thank you for joining us on Talk of the Town here on KNSJ Descanso, 89.1 FM, serving San Diego.